wanted to check out this video collaboration app from Twilio. They put out a couple open source repos with Android, iOS, React, and so they let you do some video collaboration, but there was no text chat. So I wanted to kind of upgrade them and then show a video on kind of what it takes to upgrade a pretty basic app that is it's not production ready, but it still gives you an idea kind of how complicated it can be. The Android app has at least two languages. I think Java and Kotlin, and then the iOS app is another two languages, which is Objective-C and Swift. And then I wrote the Go server in Go. So a couple different languages, couple different devices, but you'll kind of see how everything comes together. So let's look at the app itself. I got a simulator here. So if I join, so the user is Pro Max. We're joining a room called Quarantine After Party. So I'm gonna take my phone. I have an Android here. All right, so let's cut audio. So you see my video, and I'm gonna ping into, yep. Now let's see here, we're gonna come into the chat. Welcome Pro Max, you've joined After Party. Welcome Android chat, your advantage. What's up? Let's see here if we get some chat going. Nah, not going to the beach. But you'll see the messages come through here. You can see the chat. Let me see if I pull this down. You can, and I share my screen, you can see what it looks like on my screen. So, share screen. Focus on that. Pull the chat up. You can see my screen. Boom. So if we leave and come back, all right, you'll see it pop up again. So let's see here. So that's the app. Let me cut the share screen off. Stop share, and we're gonna leave the room. And leave this room. All right, so now we're gonna try and look at the code. So you guys can see the format of the messages that are coming through. You see the created, the date, the room. I hashed the room just to hide it a little bit. And then the text comes in, plain text, and the sender ID. So you see the messages come through central way to see everything, and then also everything is separated into rooms. So now if we look at the code base, let's look at the message format first. So come in here, you'll see it has a sender, text, message ID, created, just basic information for a message. I can take it from JSON, or you can pass in parameters and I'll set them. Let's see, and then I'll just basic stuff, bold, system font size, so I got some font stuff in here. Then there's the WebSocket service itself. So I had to make this new service and add it to the iOS repo. So you're gonna subscribe here on a WSS secure chat.starline ventures, and then you're gonna make a post to send messages to the room. And the post allows you to send messages without having to constantly keep an open connection for receiving. So you can send on one line and receive on another. You can, design this stuff however you want. That's just how I put it in here. And the chat view controller is basically kind of like the brains of that message layout that you ended up seeing. So it allows you to set the room, set the main user, and you load up the collections, the messages, the socket service, kind of initiate everything, and the view did load. And then as you get further and further down, you get to the welcome message and then other basic stuff like pulling the message in from JSON. Everywhere you see insert message, it follows into this function. Down here, that basically, what is insert message? It inserts the message into the, it basically just sends it out using HTTPS to the chat server. And you'll see I MD5 the room before it goes out. And if we look at the Android, let's see here, the chat activity kind of maps back to the chat view controller in iOS. And so I think this chat activity, this is in Swift, and you can already see, 3 languages, and we haven't even got to the Go server yet. And this is kind of the reason why sometimes the iOS app might come first, or the Android app comes first, and then the follow-up takes a little while, just because each code base is completely different. The paradigms for them are different. Setting up the variables and layout, everything is flipped. So that's why some of these apps take longer to get to you. But you'll see here, this chat activity, I get the room, the display, set up the socket, the service, the listeners, set up every time a message comes in over the WebSocket, make sure it gets sent out, scroll down so that the view, is always up to date and you don't end up missing messages. And then create that welcome message, send that off, and then every time I have to send a chat, if somebody clicks a button, I just JSON the message and send it off to the chat server. And you'll see the message model is basically the same. Basic message has a text, message ID, room. So they're similar in terms of like their semantics. It's just the syntax is just different. What else here? And then you can see these drawables, the chat room. This is what lists out the messages. Got the text box, the send button, and then some XML layout for the received and the sent. So now we're going to try and take a look at the chat server itself. So I just extended somebody else's. They had made a pretty decent chat server, and so I wanted to make some changes to it to allow for rooms. So you'll see, the chat server has some subscribers, some logging, and then I added in the rooms. And you can subscribe to all messages. This one will make you subscribe to a specific room. Both handled by the same function, and then same thing with publish. You can publish to all users, or you can publish to a specific room. The subscribe handler is going to pull that room out of the path, and if it's present, it'll subscribe you to the room. Otherwise, it'll subscribe you to every message. And publish does a similar thing, except for it's just checking for the room, and it'll publish to a specific room, or it'll publish to every room. And let's see here. So you subscribe, you get added to the room, or you just add it to the regular subscribers, publish to a room. Everything's pretty similar. And then the only difference here on published rooms is that I go through the rooms map and get those keys, and then end up pushing every message into the subscriber for each room. And that's about it. So all of this is open source, and anybody can take it, extend